Welcome back everybody, thanks for sticking with me. We're on the playlist for this room makeover. We're changing it into kids TV stroke game room. Now the last video you saw me do, I was lining the ceiling. Straightforward, we had a bit of a laugh with that one I think. I'll say it's not as easy as you think doing a ceiling. It is quite easy doing a ceiling. It's just, anyway, right, now we're back on. From when I last saw you, what I've done, I've gone around all the edges. I've corked, can you see, across the coving edge. I'm going to go all the way like that. Around the wall rock, coving edge, the bottom coving, down the angles, across the top of the skirting boards, round the door frames, round the patio door, and I've done taping up as well. Now, you're going to say, why have I gone round corking? Well, I've not got it there. Let me show you what I've got. I'm back. Right, you're going to say, why did I cork it? It was mainly just to neaten up the edges, because when you do an internal angle with wallpapering, you do a bit of an overlap, and I just wanted to try and hide that wallpaper edge in the corners. Top edge of the skirting, I've corked just to neaten it all off for when I come to tape it for painting the walls. Now, I've explained on the last videos, I'm keeping this wallpaper and we're going to be painting over it. I like this texture. It's like crumpled paper. I don't think you can see that. If I can zoom in, yeah, let's see if you can. It's like crumpled paper. And I can remember originally the wrapper of that wallpaper said hand printed by machine, handmade by machine. It was quite comical. But anyway, I've gone around corking, and I'm trying some of this quick to coat cork, which I picked up as a free sample, again from the decorating show back in November. London decorating merchants, I'll give a shout out to those guys. Just gave me this to try out, to see what I thought. It applied nicely, it felt a little bit thick in the tube. What I didn't like is that you can't swap the nozzle over, it's a fixed nozzle. Whereas the ones that I use, you know, I like the Red Devil one-time cork. I like to be able to interchange the end with a different size nozzle, you know, when you cut it off. But this is supposed to be, you can paint over it within half an hour. What does it say? Brush over it in 30 minutes, won't crack. The paint won't crack, interior, exterior, and spray paint immediately, which is actually not a bad one. Thankfully, or say thankfully, I've not needed to be painting straight over it. So from when I did the last videos, well, a day or so ago, it's had time to settle. And I must say, it does feel quite a solid cork. Or shall I say caulking? I'm seeing a lot of people say they're doing the caulking. I don't know if it's an American thing, but it's pronounced cork. C-A-U-L-K, and you pronounce it cork as in that place in Ireland, C-O-R-K. Pronounce it cork like that. Right, I've used that. Would I use it again? I'll probably use it again, more of a case to use it up. But as I say, I do like the Red Devil one-time cork, which is interior, exterior as well. But that's what I've used anyway. Right, you've seen the thumbnail. We're going to be spraying. Now, I'll say unfortunately, I've not got that Graco quick shot anymore. That had to go back. I am looking at getting one, so don't worry, I will buy one eventually, so don't worry about that. But for this room, I'm going to be actually spraying the woodwork with the finish, which I have the delivery down there of paint. I'll show you what paint it will be. That's all I'm going to show you for now. It's going to have a lick of paint. But with this woodwork being previously oil eggshell, and it was oil eggshell because I did it originally, when the house was all done all the way through, I told you about the coving, and Robbie of Nottingham, who did the coving for me, I followed him up decorating. All the woodwork, it was MDF and it all had a nib down. It had, I think off the top of my head, I think I did 2 coats of oil undercoat to get the build up, and then I did 2 coats of oil eggshell, which was, I remember it at the time, it was crown, and it was all done in, well, I call it gardenia, which is a Dulux colour. Actually the crown colour I believe soft white, but it's all in a off-white gardenia sort of colour. And because it has been oil, I do like to bring it up to a water-based finish standard, which means I give it a grip coat first. So you've seen the video. I've got some of this spare in the workshop. I've got dregs. I've got 3 tins of this with dregs in it, which I've mixed together, strained it through my little bag, and I've got it in my HVLP, which my HVLP is the stage 5. So bye-bye quick shot, hello HVLP, which I'm not too worried about because I can clean this out really quickly. So for this, I'm going to be around this room in 10 minutes, aren't I? I've got a 1.8 needle, which might be a little bit too thick or too big. If you want to know about HVLP spraying, it's there. But I've got a 1.5 and I've got a 1.8. Now this is the 1.8, which will, it's the orifice size, it will be a bit bigger, but I can regulate it by dialing it in at the back. So if I want to reduce the flow of actual paint, I can actually screw it in. If I want to put a bit more paint on, I can screw it out. But I just need to get on today. This last thing, it's, look, we're dark outside, it's winter months. I just want to get a woodwork coat on, just a grip coat on the woodwork before I leave tonight, because that'll be dry for when I put the, I've got eggshell. I've got a satin finish for the woodwork in a colour that is going to be a bit surprising. Now, unfortunately, I wanted to get my hands on some grey 123 bullseye primer. Now, I struggled at crown, I struggled at Screwfix, and by the time I'd driven around, I couldn't be bothered going anywhere else. So I just thought to myself, I'll keep with what I've got, which is white, and because I've got enough paint to do an extra coat if needs be, I can always give it an extra coat of the darker finish that I'm going to be putting on. So it'll have 2, but if I need to give it a 3rd, which I won't need to, I can do. And I'll be using HVLP because my quick shot's gone back to its owner. Never mind. So I've strained the paint, that's all in there. I'm going to get it hooked up. I'm going to start with the door edges because lots of people say you can't spray in an occupied house. Well, this is definitely an occupied house. I've taped up the door. You'll see that in a minute. I've taped up the door, I've taped up the glass, and I've taped up enough on the frame of the other side that I can control what I'm spraying here. So I'm going to move you around in a moment and just show you how I've got it set up. I'm just going to make sure that this spray's all right. And my idea is I'm going to spray the door edges first, the jambs. Let that just tack off, go off before I close the door too and spray the door. But while I'm waiting for that to go off, my main thing is I want to get a grip coat over that radiator. The radiator and all the woodwork's been rubbed down with the Mirka GoldFlex 150 sanding pads. You know, got one in my pocket. If you look in the description below, I've got some things in the shop, the Amazon shop, and also some links if you want to purchase from Amazon. I've told you all about can't even get my words out. I've told you all about that before. And the other thing while I'm here, I've actually changed this light. I've brought the pole light in, but because I was sick of the light from the pole light, I've put an Amazon light up. Now, this is ace. This is brilliant. This colour changes. This is going to be fantastic in a kid's play stroke games room. I can change the colour, I can speed it up, I can slow it down, I can put it on a night timer so it goes off after a few minutes, I can press the button and go back to bright daylight. It's got remote control, and if I tell you, and I'll do a link for Amazon, if I tell you that that only cost me about 25 quid. It's mad, isn't it? And it's brilliant. So see you in a moment and I'll move you around. Well, away we go. Right, what I've done, if you can see, I've taped up the hinge edge because I don't want any paint on there. I've taped up on the face of the outside of this door, taped up against it nicely, put some paper sheet against it. I've done the same on this side here, you can see. So when I come to do the actual spraying of the edge here, I can just hold that in place, spray down, keep control of that HVLP because it's good, the HVLP, for control. I can spray these door edges in, the jambs, whatever you want to call them, let that go off, close the door too, tape the hinges up because I could tape the door up, I could take the door off, but I'm not doing it, I'm keeping it in place. But what I've done with the outside of the door, I've just taped around the edges and I've just dropped some drop sheet on it. So that's taped up this side, there's no paint going to go on there. I've left that exposed edge because obviously, I say obviously, you probably clearly understand that I've taped across that edge there. Just let it keep slightly off edge. I don't know whether you can see it. I've not wrapped the tape around the face. I've just kept it back because there's a natural bit of a bevel. I'll call it a bit of a bevel on there. So what I'll do, I'll spray that in, spray that down there, close it to slightly. It won't stick because I'll just keep it away, and then I'll spray the door up and down as you do in one. A lot of people get a bit carried away with spraying and they treat it like brushing it, and they'll go up and down and you're overcoating. You don't want to be overcoating, you just want to do sweeps top and bottom. And what I'll do, I'll take in the side, I'll just go up and down and just get a feel for it. Try and go across the top, put a little bit of paint on there. Once I've got that out the way, I'll be on the radiator, bring the skirting round, and I expect 10 minutes. This room will be 10 minutes. It'll take me about 10 minutes to actually get the kit all washed out, but hey ho, it's 10 minutes to spray. A lot easier than actually painting it with a brush, and you get a better finish. Now, that one point, I've tried the paint, I've not thinned it, I've left it go as it is because it's quite thin anyway. The 1.8 needle's quite nice. I've opened it out so I'm getting enough paint on. If you don't get it wet enough, moist enough, thin enough, it can look a bit splattery. I'm not too worried. I'm going to put enough paint on that it'll actually start flowing out nicely. Where I will control what sort of viscosity the paint will be is on the finished coats, i.e. the lick paint. But that's another video. So let's crack on. I've got my mask and all right. Yeah, it'll be noisy. It'll be noisy. Let me move you. not too bad, not much dust in there because I had it under control. But it's a blinking nightmare when you get blockage. Blockage on an HVLP. Nightmare. You probably saw I was just doing the door. All was going well, then it blocked up. And you saw me doing some little samples to unblock it. I had to release the needle and lay a bit more through and then change the fan. We eventually actually cleared it and it sprayed lovely, and going around the skirting it's actually put a nice amount on. You saw I just gave a second coat because the first coat was only a very light waft coat over the radiator, so that's had 2 now and I'm quite happy. You saw how I did the edges around the door, and you saw me just tape up those hinges before I actually finished. So I'm going to leave that now. I'm going to wash my kit out. I'm going to tell it off for blocking up on me, but job's a good one. And when you see me next time, we're going to get some actual colour, some Lit Pro colour on this woodwork. So all good, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.